Welcome to Fantasy and Enchantment, where I describe fantasy books to my husband and see if he's enchanted. My name is Sarah.
And I'm Justin.
We're going to start off with content warnings. We both swear a lot, adult language, be warned. Also, spoilers for the books we're discussing. We're going in detail with the plot, so if you haven't read it,
You don't belong here.
you really don't. Go somewhere else. This week,
Hang on. Before we get started here, I've got to talk about something.
I don't know.
I want everybody to take a listen here. This
Oh my
sound,
God.
this sound, that right there is a peach Pepsi. I've been searching everywhere for peach Pepsi for weeks, and I finally found it today. Let's just say this is what we like to call a home fucking run. This peach Pepsi's fantastic. I don't know what you're doing over there, Pepsi, but keep it up. Also, I know you're listening, Pepsi. You go ahead and fuck whatever fruit you want into my Pepsi. I don't care if it's pineapple, I don't care if it's banana, papaya, dragon fruit. You put everything you want inside that Pepsi and you send it my way because I'm going to drink it up because it's delightful.
Are you done? Because this is not a pep. I had no idea that was happening, for the record.
We're talking Pepsi.
This is not a Pepsi podcast.
Well, I got to get my jollies out of this too.
I mean, you're already in for a ride. You're going to make it even longer.
Well, here we go. Strap in, kids. What's this week?
This week is the behemoth known as Crescent City.
Crescent City.
So there are 3 books. So technically, this first one is called House of Earth and Blood.
It's gigantic.
It is. Because I had to take a whole bunch of notes. 799 pages.
That's insane. How many maps?
Just one.
Just one.
Just one map this
Still
time.
one too many.
And it's only a map of the city, not the whole...
Not the whole made-up world.
Yes.
Got it.
So...
Here we go, and it's Sarah J. Maas again. We're
Yeah.
back to her.
See, I don't know if you remember, I told you that there was going to be a point where they overlap.
Right.
This is not the book where that starts to overlap.
But it's in the same world.
It's in the same series. It's like
So-
a universe thing.
There's still fairies. They're all still doing it.
You'll see.
Lots of humping, I assume.
I don't want to spoil anything, but you'll see.
Spoiler alert. Humping.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay, start off with the description and then we'll dive right into all 5 pages of my notes.
Jesus Christ.
We might be here for a while.
Fuck me.
If you were in this book, maybe.
Yeah, everybody else is getting fucked in this book. I may as well too.
Half fae, half human, Bryce Quinlan loves her life. Every night is a party, and Bryce is going to savor all the pleasures Lunathion, also known as Crescent City, has to offer. But then a brutal murder shakes the very foundations of the city, and Bryce's world comes crashing down. 2 years later, Bryce still haunts the city's most notorious nightclubs, seeking only oblivion now, trying to put the past behind her. When the murderer attacks again, and in an infamous fallen angel, Hunt Athalar is assigned to watch her every footstep, Bryce knows she can't forget any longer. As Bryce and Hunt fight to unravel the mystery, the threads they tug ripple through the underbelly of the city, cross warring continents, and down to the deepest levels of hell, with 1 L, not 2.
Oh, great.
Different hell.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Where things that have been sleeping for millennia are beginning to stir.
Does she get this wordy throughout the whole book, or is it just in the descriptions that they go apeshit with all the wordiness and the nonsense?
That's not even that wordy. What do you mean by wordy?
It just feels like big words for no reason. Like they're just really drilling it home. Is that the way she writes everything?
What big words?
I don't know.
Oblivion is not a big word.
It's
Millennia is not a big word.
Also, we've got a female protagonist with a man's name now.
Bryce?
Bryce is a dude's name.
I mean, I thought it didn't occur to me.
That
it
strikes
could-
me as a guy's name.
Okay. Okay.
At least it's not completely made up, but it does strike me as a guy's name. Also, this cover's got a lot happening.
Yes. So I don't know if it's ever been confirmed, but I think this is Bryce.
Okay.
So she's a redhead for sure.
Looks like she's weaving some kind of spell or something with her hands. I don't know what's going on.
Well, it's a very abstract artistic representation.
Got it. There's a bird, there's a snake, maybe some trees in the background. I'm not sure what. There's a lot happening.
Fact. We're going to start with your favorite part,
The map.
the map. It's just a map of the city.
It's not even a real map.
Well-
This is an abstract version of a map.
I mean, it's just to give you an idea of the layout. So, like, she has an apartment somewhere over here.
The meat market.
yeah,
Why do
see-
I feel like that's a sex thing?
It kind of is.
Of course it
It's-
is. That's just where everybody's running around with their dong out.
That's like the black market area of town. So prostitution
Black
and drugs,
black dongs.
fight clubs, that kind of stuff.
Great.
Asphodel Meadows are where the humans live. Five Roses, where the Fae live. Moonwood, the werewolves.
Now we got werewolves?
Yeah, this one there's a lot of shit in here.
Oh, great.
So yeah, we'll expand upon it, but because the river cuts it into the shape of a crescent, it's also called Crescent
Crescent.
City.
Okay, I get it. How clever.
That was definitely sarcasm. If
Was it?
nobody else
Did you
picked
pick
that.
up on that?
I did.
You smelling what I'm stepping in over here?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll give you one hint as to what it is that I'm stepping in.
Stop it.
Big old pile.
Hey. Okay. It's set on a planet called Midgard. The city, obviously, Lunathion, also called Crescent City.
So did we name the planet now from the other books as well?
No, this is the only one so far that has a name.
But it's in the same world, so theoretically it would be on the same planet, correct? Or is there space travel later?
I mean, it's meant to be like a multiple universe, different realms kind of situation.
I don't like it. Continue.
Okay.
I just thought we named the planet that everybody lived on in the other books too, but apparently not.
Not that I can recall.
Okay.
Okay.
I thought this was the same planet. It's silly that it's a different planet.
It
I'm
is
curious how these are all going to tie together if they're not on the same planet. But anyway,
okay.
let's find out about what's happening here.
This whole world is very hierarchical.
That's a tough word to say, guys.
It is. It is
That's
a very tough word to say. But basically, there's this race of like ruling, not people, but some kind of ruling species called the Asteri Veneer, or what they call all the supernatural beings are underneath them, and then humans are at the very bottom.
Bottom of the food chain.
Bottom of the food chain. That becomes important. The Asteri created archangels and angels to help run the cities. That's also going to be important. And this is considered an urban fantasy because there are cell phones and security cameras and computers and like technology stuff.
So it's like kind of real worldy, kind of not.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're not living in huts with grass roofs in this. It's real buildings.
It's real buildings.
Okay.
It's high-rise apartments.
Okay.
People have jobs.
I can relate maybe slightly more to this and
Okay.
understand what I'm painting in my brain
Okay.
as far as the surroundings.
Okay. No more real estate questions.
Yeah, I had a lot of real estate problems previously.
Okay. One of the first characters we meet is Jessica. She's
Jessica?
Jessica.
Ba.
That was my fault. Jessica.
No, it's not your fault. It's Sarah Maas's fault for making up stupid names. Jessica.
Okay. She's like an antiquities black market collector. Nobody really knows how old she is. She's very mysterious. Also turns her enemies into animals because she's like a witch.
Burn her.
Okay. And then you meet Bryce and Danica. Bryce, obviously, main character.
Yeah.
Danica is her best friend,
Okay.
who is a wolf shifter, like a werewolf. Also runs a police force in the area. So,
She's a werewolf police officer?
yeah, that's one of the humans aren't allowed to have those kind of jobs. It's got to be the supernatural folks, because humans are at the bottom of the food chain.
Got it. Is Bryce a human?
Bryce is half human, half fae,
Got it.
which means she gets called a half-breed a lot.
Okay. That's like a racial slur amongst the weirdos. Got
Yes,
it.
yes. And Bryce and Danica are talking about this human who was arrested a while ago for trying to blow up a club, but he's getting out of jail on a technicality, and his name is Philip Briggs. He's going to come up again later.
Okay. For blowing up the club.
Yes, they're also talking about this thing that went missing from a temple, and it's called Luna's Horn. Also will come up again later. There's a lot of stuff that just
What?
gets sprinkled throughout, and then it comes up again later.
Great. Just sprinkling in plot points.
Bryce works at Jessica's office. She's like her assistant.
Okay.
And then at the office, there is also Lahaba, who's a fire sprite. You're not allowed to say anything bad about Lahaba. Anybody listening understands. Can't do it.
Okay, so he's he, she.
She.
God, I can't even fucking keep track. Like you can't tell based on the names.
Well, you can tell if you read the book because it's very clearly Only a couple inches tall. She's basically
Tinkerbell.
flame.
We've got Tinkerbell.
But on fire.
Fire Tinkerbell.
Fire
okay.
Tinkerbell.
That's how we're doing
And she really likes reality television.
Okay. I mean, I
So
can
she's
relate.
you.
I can relate to some of that.
Garbage TV.
I enjoy
She's
some
you.
garbage TV.
Okay. There's also a chimera who's
There's-
about the size of our little dog over there.
There's a really cool, like, alternative metal band from the early 2000s called Chimera. Continue.
Okay. His name is Syrinx. He's gonna come up again later.
Everything you're saying right now is just like, this will come up later. We'll come back to this.
There's also mention that Bryce and Danica, not too long before this, got matching tattoos while they were drunk one night, like on their back.
Tramp stamp.
No, because the tramp stamp is just like here. It's,
Lower back, yeah.
It's all the way down.
Oh, great.
Base
So-
of the neck all the way down.
Okay. And what is it of?
It says, through love, all is possible. Both of those things, the quote and the actual tattoo, are going to come into play later.
Okay. That's a weird thing to try to sprinkle into a story. I don't know how you even get to that, but whatever.
Okay. You also hear about this thing called the drop. So when immortal beings are born, they're not born immortal. They have to do this weird ritual where they kind of die for a minute and then come back to life, and that makes them immortal. And I call that the drop.
How many of these weird beings are immortal? Like, are the werewolves immortal, or is Tinkerbell immortal?
Anybody can be killed right off the bat. Immortal just means they don't get sick. Most injuries will heal themselves as long as it's not like you got blown up, your head got chopped off, that kind of stuff.
Right. Highlander shit.
Sure.
You've probably never seen Highlander or know anything about Highlander.
If I have, it was a very long time ago.
They cut their heads off to kill them. They're immortal other than they have to have their heads cut off.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing.
Anybody who isn't human can become immortal by doing the drop.
Okay.
But Danica and Bryce have not done it yet. They want to do it together. They're best friends. They're going to wait a couple years.
It's a real bonding experience. Also, I feel like immortality definitely would lead to some population control problems there in their little Crescent City. Be an awful lot of people running around if nobody dies.
I mean, yeah, that's a good point.
They're going to need some COVID to clean the population up a little bit. Every once in a while, you need a new plague, guys. Start over.
There's too many people on this planet.
Too many people on
We
this
need a
planet.
new plague.
We definitely need a new plague.
I got that from the office. Please don't come at me.
Or do. Whatever.
Stop it.
Hit her in the comments, gang.
Excuse me.
Because she's the one you're coming after in the comments for obnoxious comments.
Yeah.
I think I'm usually the one taking the brunt of that.
Yeah, you
Now,
should be.
Now for a sip of my Pepsi.
Are we done with the Pepsi?
Maybe. We'll see if it comes back. Maybe I'm just sprinkling it in and it'll come back later.
Can we get back on topic?
All right.
Okay, they haven't done the drop. The big important part of the drop is it involves the person dropping, and then usually there's another person there acting as an anchor to help them come back.
Okay.
So you can't really do it by yourself. That's going to come back later.
Great. Everything comes back later.
The section of the police force that Danica is in charge of is called the Pack of Devils. No explanation.
No,
why
it's just okay.
That's just their name.
It just looks cool on a jacket. Do they all wear like a biker vest and it's a leather and it's got a patch on it?
Maybe.
Pack of Devils.
But there's a guy in the Pack of Devils named Connor, and he asks Bryce out on a date.
Also, Pack of Devils would be a cool name for like cigarettes. Let me get a Pack of Devils.
Okay.
All right.
Bryce technically already has a boyfriend. She goes out to dinner with her boyfriend. He's a dick. He's a human asshole. Blows her off. So she leaves. I guess they break up because then she says, yeah, sure, Connor, we'll go out on a date finally.
Okay. Does the boyfriend come back? Because everything
No.
else does. Okay.
The boyfriend, actually, one of the very few things.
One of the only things that's just a
Never hear about him again.
flash in the pan.
I don't even remember if he has a name.
We'll call him Scott.
Okay.
Everybody's name is Scott if they don't have a name.
From there, you hear about her two other friends, Fury and Juniper.
God damn it.
Juniper is like a deer shifter kind of thing.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. What a great power to have. You could be a werewolf or you could be a fucking deer.
It's never explicitly said what Fury is, but she definitely is an assassin.
Okay.
She's real scary.
Fucking deer. What are you gonna do? Jump out in front of a car in the middle of the night?
She's a dancer. She does ballet.
She strips.
No, it's a legitimate Shut the fuck up.
I know what dancer is code for. She takes her clothes off for money.
Stop it,
And then she
Justin.
turns into a deer with antlers and shit.
Hey. Off the rails.
Off
again.
the rails. This is what happens when we record in the evening instead of in the afternoon. Everything
Well-
gets a little blurry.
Yeah. Fury, Juniper, and Bryce all go out to a club.
The club.
Yes. You're gonna do that every time I say that.
Why not?
Okay. And Bryce is texting Danica the whole time. Danica had to stay home, do this thing, hang out with her pack of devils, whatever. But at a certain point, Danica stops responding. Bryce gets back to their apartment. She's drunk. Also, there may be some drugs involved.
Don't do drugs, kids.
Don't do drugs. Hide the
Nothing,
kite.
nothing good happens after midnight either. Don't go out after dark.
She gets to her apartment, and Danica and all of the pack of devils are literally ripped to shreds.
Oh,
Just chunks.
they did.
They are so dead.
Okay. This got cool. People, just piles of people.
Just piles of people.
All right.
Yeah. And then there's a demon that comes running out of the apartment. So Bryce, high as a kite, chases after the demon.
Yeah, I'm sure it was actually a demon and she's not just stoned out of her gourd.
No, it was actually a demon. The demon comes back later.
Okay. Everything comes back later.
Yes.
You know who doesn't come back later? The people chunks. They're done.
Yeah. Well, okay, I'm not going to ruin it for you.
Oh, crap. It's going to be one of those where nobody fucking dies again.
In the process of chasing this demon, she's got like a leg from a coffee table, and she's.
I thought you were going to say a leg from one of the people.
No.
Man, that would have been
Oh my
way
God.
cooler.
Oh my God.
Swinging around a severed limb.
Ugh. I'm a little nauseous. Okay. She got a leg from the coffee table.
Okay.
She sees the demon jump on top of somebody, beats the demon off of him, but the demon also takes a swipe at her on her leg, and then she kind of blacks out.
Because she's high.
She's high, she's in shock. Also important. Also, she was injured. It's not just the drugs.
It's not a great day.
No. And this is when you meet Hunt. Hunt
Is a verb.
well, it's also a nickname. Technically, his name is Orion, but people call him Hunt.
Orion.
Because Orion is the hunter.
Is he Irish?
No, he's an angel. He's a literal angel.
I thought it was O apostrophe Ryan.
No.
Orion.
No, like the constellation.
I guess that's there too.
Okay. Anyway, Hunt also goes by Umbra Mortis. He's an assassin for the Archangels. He's also what they call a fallen angel because he participated in a rebellion a couple hundred years before this. He was on the losing side.
The Confederacy.
Hunt has this deal with the Archangel in charge of Lunathion that in exchange for the lives Hunt killed during the rebellion, he has to kill the same amount of lives to kind of even the score.
Do we get a number on that?
Yes, 2,217 was the original number.
Okay.
He has killed 80 people in 200 years.
He's not real good at this.
Well,
He is a terrible assassin. He needs to up those numbers.
oh, by the way, the Archangel in charge of the city, his name is Mika.
God.
You'll hear a lot about him.
Okay, great.
It
I
was a-
can't wait.
Yeah, I know you're real excited. Next big scene is Bryce is in like the headquarters of the police in an interrogation room with Hunt and one of the other angels. I think it's Isaiah. Anyway, she's being interrogated and they decide she's basically comatose at this point. She's not responding. She's in a lot of shock. She just saw her best friend.
What with all the people chunks and all?
Yeah, so not doing good. They decide to play these. They don't have video, but they do have audio from when the attack happened. They decide to play it. And then she throws up everywhere.
Cool.
And then Rune shows up. She calls him her cousin. We'll hear more about him later. In actuality, he's her half-brother.
Okay.
So she has human mother,
I was gonna say, is this human side half brother or
other side.
other side?
So she's got human mother,
Yeah, there's
human
Jade.
stepfather. I quit. But her biological father is the king of the fairies. The Autumn King is what he goes by. He's an asshole. He is Rune's dad. Rune is way older than her. Like, they used to get along when she was growing up, because he was already, like, an adult at that point, but something happened. They don't really talk a lot anymore.
We'll find out later, probably.
We will.
Of course.
Almost 2 years passes in the story.
Just skip forward.
Just skip forward.
You'd think with fucking 800 pages, she could fill in some of that 2 years.
There's a lot to get through, trust me.
It's already a lot to get through. And most of it is just characters that'll come back later.
Yeah.
Or not.
Bryce is in a different club.
Dick nerve.
Okay. Meeting with a vampire about like a shady business deal that Jessica wants her to do with him.
Well, of course a vampire is going to have a shady business deal. It's not going to be on the up and up. He's a vampire.
And this is when you hear her say, for the first time, alpha hole. So an alpha hole is an alpha male guy.
Alpha hole?
Also an asshole, yes. That's a word that she has made up.
Hole.
Alpha hole.
Okay.
I thought you'd like that.
Yeah, well,
They also talk about this thing coming up called the Summit, where the Asteri and all the archangels in charge of all the cities kind of get together and talk about the government. It's a big deal.
okay. How do you get into a book like this? There's so much. I would get to like the fourth thing and I'd be like, this is too much, and just put it down. There's no way I could keep up.
Well, you also have to remember, I'm notating things that are important, but there's like, it is a whole story. It's meant to draw you in,
I guess my brain just doesn't work that way.
clearly.
I feel like even if I saw this in movie or TV form, I'd be like, there's too many people, I'm done.
Oh, okay.
I'd give up within like 20 minutes of this being a movie.
Anyway, you also hear about this thing called star power that some of the Fae have, including Rune. It's very special, very important.
It'll come back later.
Yep.
Of course it will.
Bryce has a new apartment.
Well,
'Cause,
you wouldn't
yeah.
want the one that you're going to have a tough time getting the smell out.
Yeah. It was actually Danica's apartment. Danica left it to her, like willed it to her.
Okay.
So, the next day, Bryce is at her job at Jessica's office, and Isaiah and Hunt show up. So, two angels. So, Isaiah and Hunt show up, demand to be let into. Jessica has a lot of old artifacts and important books and stuff, so she keeps it locked down pretty tight. They demand to be let in because they want to meet with Bryce, and Micah is also coming. And Micah is the archangel, so he is super important. They cannot say no to him.
Got it.
She opens the door, not very excited about it, and then Micah says, essentially, I need your help, Bryce Quinlan, to find the true murderer behind Danica's murder. So, Danica's murder still has not technically
They
been
didn't solve that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, wasn't it the demon, though?
I'm not even sure at this point if they know for sure that it was the demon, because demons can also be summoned. Maybe they're trying to figure out who summoned the demon and hold that person responsible.
So the demon, she hits it in the head with a coffee table leg.
Yeah.
She passes out. Demon just disappears.
Yeah,
Okay.
that we know of at this point anyway.
Right. Come back later. Stay tuned.
Later on, Micah tells Hunt that Hunt has to work with Bryce to solve this murder. And in exchange for it, Micah will take his 2,000 something number down to 10. So that's a lot more reasonable.
Right. Yeah, that's a pretty good deal for him.
So Hunt obviously says, okay, yes, I'll do this. We also find out that for a while, the leader of this rebellion that Hunt was a part of, he was in love with her. Her name was Shahar. Shahar had a twin whose name is Sandriel, who's still alive. He was given to Sandriel, and Sandriel tortured the fuck out of him for a while.
What happened to the first one that he was in love with? She did?
She did. She died in the rebellion.
Okay. And then he was given to her sister.
Yes, to torture
Why?
as punishment. He's also a slave. He's got like this big barbed wire tattoo on his head to denote that he is a slave of the Asteri.
Like Ronnie Radke from Falling in Reverse? He's got barbed wire tattooed on his forehead.
Sure.
Falling in Reverse is a pretty cool band.
Okay. I don't know if I have any idea who you're talking about.
Yeah, you probably don't.
Very important. Rune meets with his dad, the Autumn King, also Bryce's dad. And the Autumn King says, I need you to find Luna's horn, because that also still hasn't been found.
What's that do?
We'll find out later.
Great.
He also learns that he has been engaged by force to a witch named Hypaxia. We'll meet her later.
Perfectly reasonable.
Yeah, he's not super happy about it because he doesn't even know her. And,
Why would you be forced to be engaged to somebody?
yeah, well, that's kind of the Autumn King's jam, is to just shove his children around like chess pieces.
Well, gotta do what you gotta do when you're king, I guess.
There's also an oracle that people go see at a certain age in Lunathion. And this is when we hear that the oracle told Ruin that he was going to be the end of the bloodline. So Ruin knows this in the back of his head, but he told his dad that the oracle said that he was going to be a great king. So Ruin is the only one who knows he's the end of the bloodline.
Okay. So he's not having any kids.
Yeah. It can mean a few different things. It can mean that he dies early. It can mean that he just doesn't have kids. Like, we don't know at this point, but
Okay.
he knows it's
He's
not going to... Yeah, he's the last one.
Okay. Well, that's a tough pill to swallow for a royal family.
Yes. Also, Bryce at this point has adopted Syrinx the Chimera, so he's her pet now.
Okay.
He does not like Hunt. He bites him in the ass at one point. It's pretty funny.
Okay.
But in exchange, because Bryce and Hunt are working together, Hunt is like following her around, trying to keep an eye on her. Bryce is also kind of a suspect in the murder at this point, so he's also trying to suss out like how or when or what her motives could have been if she had done it.
Right.
And that only confirms his suspicions because the next day she goes out to a nail salon
Get her nails did.
to get her nails did. The whole reason they're coming back to Danica's murder now is because that vampire she met with to do the deal is also dead. And he died the same way that Danica did, and then he was ripped to fucking pieces. And the only connection between the vampire and Danica is Bryce.
Got it.
So they're trying to connect some dots here.
Okay.
She goes up to the nail salon. On her way out, Hunt gets kind of irritated and snippy with her. And she basically says, well, you think I'm a dumb girl, but that's his girlfriend. She was more than happy to tell me about how sad and upset she was that he died and what he had been doing lately. And so she's not as dumb as she seems.
Okay.
Is the whole point of that.
So she goes to the
She's
nail
actually,
salon
like-
to try to get a little bit of information.
Yeah, she's actually like 2 or 3 steps ahead of everybody. You get that impression really quickly.
But everybody thinks she's dumb.
Everybody thinks she's a dumb party girl. Dumb party girl.
Because she
And
goes to the club.
And she's fine with that, really. She's perfectly content being underestimated. It suits her just fine.
Okay.
We hear about Flynn and Declan, who are also fairies. They're Rune's friends. They do stuff later. Bryce and Hunt find out that the vampire in the business deal frequented the meat market. So they're going to the meat market to meet the Viper Queen, who is in charge of the meat market.
This is MEAT market, not MEET, right? People
Correct.
aren't meeting they're
They-
getting meat.
Yes, they
Ah.
are the meat.
They are the meat. Like all the choked up people.
Yeah,
That's the meat.
yeah.
Making some people burgers out of the people meat.
How about no? We already talked about
We've
this.
talked people meat in the past.
No people meat.
We'll see.
No people meat. Do you know what else I did last night? I looked up Maximus.
I thought for a
Tertian.
second you were asking me a question if I knew it. I was like, this is terrible podcasting. Nobody cares what you did last night.
Because despite what the governor says, there was no fucking way Danica knew him. And you know what? I was right. And you know how I know I'm right? Because I looked up his profile on Spark, the dating site. Yeah, the dating site. Turns out even creepy vamps are looking for love deep down.
So they got vampire Tinder.
So yes, that's essentially what that is. So I did some more digging and found his girlfriend. Aren't there people at the 33 the 33rd who should be doing this shit? That's the 33rd is the name of their,
The precinct.
yeah, essentially.
Got it.
Guess who did my nails and got to chatting about the terrible loss of her rich-ass boyfriend. So, yeah, she did her research. But then they decide to go to the meat market. They meet with the Viper Queen. Bryce actually has a good idea of how to get the Viper Queen's attention, because the Viper Queen is not known for just meeting with anybody. So she decides to buy a fuck ton of obsidian salt, which is used to summon demons, which makes it very illegal.
Okay.
So,
So you buy a bunch of illegal stuff, and then the big boss is going to come asking what the hell's going on.
yeah, essentially.
All right.
And it works.
Now you've also got a bunch of demon salt,
Yeah.
which, I mean, I guess you could put on pretzels and whatnot.
Well, she'll use that later.
Great.
Anyway, the Viper Queen tells her to look more closely at Danica. Like, the answers start and end with Danica.
Well,
She's very cryptic about
you'd have to look at the
about-
pieces of Danica at this point, wouldn't you? No?
Okay.
All right.
And this is when we hear more about Lahaba's love for reality TV. There's like a vampire dating show that she's really into.
For the record, I would definitely watch a vampire dating show.
I know you would. That's the only reason I wrote it down.
What would they call it? Did they give it a name?
I think it's Love Bites or something.
It's got to be something stupid like that, or some kind of, you got to get blood sucking in there or something. It's got to be something stupid.
Let me see if I can find it.
It was on TLC for sure. Comes on right after 1,000-Pound Sisters and before My 600-Pound Life. Shout out to you.
This is also when we find out that Bryce didn't just adopt Syrinx. She bought him from Jessica. So she is in a bunch of debt to Jessica because she just wanted Syrinx to have a better life. So,
How much did she pay for him? That would put a number on a chimera. What's a chimera do for you?
Syri was 233,000 gold marks. So, a decent chunk of change.
Okay, I mean, it's hard because I don't know what the
Yeah.
exchange rate is.
Yeah, I know.
It's kind of, what's the exchange rate to Stanley Nichols?
To Shroot Bucks? I
Yeah,
don't know.
Shroot Bucks to Stanley Nichols. It doesn't make any sense.
Same as the ratio of leprechauns to unicorns.
Yeah. What are you doing with a chimera? Like, what's the
Oh.
benefit of having one?
So he's kind of like a little dog. And also, they can like disappear and reappear at will in different places.
Okay.
That's how he bit Hunt in the ass. Because Hunt was outside the building,
Okay.
but
So-
Syrinx saw him through the window.
Just kind of a mischievous little puppy.
Yes.
All right. We've got one of those.
Yeah, we have experience in it.
Waffles. His name's Waffles. I'm not a crazy person who just yells out Waffles. Our dog's name is Waffles.
You are also a crazy person.
That's fair, I suppose.
Yes. Okay. And this is also when we find out that the apartment she lives in, real fancy, high-rise apartment, was left to her by Danica. So Hunt has been assuming this whole time she's a spoiled rich girl because she's got this really expensive pet and this really expensive apartment, and she goes to get her nails done, and she goes to the club sometimes. But in reality, she got the apartment from Danica.
From her chunked up friend. And she's in debt on this weird little puppy.
Yes. Okay. Rune asks to meet them at Luna's temple. Luna's temple is where the horn was stolen from a couple years before all this happened.
Would make sense. It's Luna's horn. Would be in Luna's temple.
Yes.
Checks out.
Yeah.
I'm no police officer, but that checks out.
So this is
I'd
where.
have to be a werewolf.
Yeah. Okay.
Ow.
All right. This is where we hear about the first war, which this whole world essentially, Midgard at the beginning was only humans, and then other portals kind of opened up, other shifters and fae, and that's what gave the ability for all these other people to come over. The first war was the humans' attempt to overthrow the Veneer.
Didn't go over so well.
Didn't go over very well. They got help from the Princes of Hell with one L.
1L. Doesn't make any sense. You spelled that wrong. Typo.
And there's a particular prince who goes by Apollyon, who's very important to the story.
He'll come back later.
He'll come back later. And this is also when they find out that the demon that Bryce saw that night was a Crystallos demon. That's what it's called.
Okay.
There's a name for it now.
All right. We just further described the demon with a made-up word. Got it.
Yes. And then the next day, they get a call. There was a person murdered at the temple. The same way.
Chunked up.
Chunked up. No more person. So now that's 3 times that one of these murders has happened in and around Bryce.
And the police are really dropping the ball on this because they don't know anything about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They look real dumb.
Yeah, they do. And then Bryce finds out a very important piece of information from the night that Danica was murdered. It didn't survive, she mumbled, crossing a street. It got away, but the Crystallos pinned Micah, ripped open his chest. She nearly tripped over the curb and whipped around to gape at Hunt. That was Micah. So Micah the Archangel was the guy that she saved that night.
Okay. And he's a big deal. He's hot shit.
He's hot shit. He's supposed to be all powerful, and this little half-breed saved his life.
Half-breed racist. You can't say that.
Yes.
It's like the N-word.
That's the reason that nobody knows.
Okay.
Because they don't want to get
They don't want to get out that this dirty little half-breed saved their
super
hot
powerful archangel.
Got it.
Yeah. So, important information. Bryce decides to meet Juniper at the club.
The club.
Yeah, I waited for it that time.
Pause. See, you knew it was coming.
I knew it was coming, yeah.
We're doing a thing here.
We are.
It's a little back and forth, guys. Welcome to the podcast here. Having a lot of fun.
And this is when we find out that she doesn't drink anymore. She hasn't since the night of the murder.
Well, that's probably for the best. Shit went sideways the last time she went.
Yeah.
Got all fucked up.
Yeah. Also, she's got a scar on her thigh from the night of the attack,
Okay.
which is a little weird considering she's half fae, it should have healed by now.
Well, it's his fancy demon, so it checks out.
But we'll hear more about that later.
Of course we will.
Man, there are so many notes for this one.
Yeah, and it's real scattershot. We're all over the place here.
So, I think at this point, the club explodes.
Declare, blew it up.
Yeah, it's gone now.
Wait, why does this? I need a little more insight. Why does the club explode?
It was a bomb.
A bomb.
A bomb went off.
Was it the bomber from before?
It could have been potentially. So, at this point they don't know, but they suspect it was Philip Briggs and or the other human rebels.
Okay.
So they're gonna have to talk to him.
It was the Confederacy.
He was pretty immediately arrested, like right after the bombing,
Okay.
just to be safe.
Yeah, well, as you would.
Yeah.
It's his
So-
MO.
But because of that, because the summon is coming up, because whether he likes it or not, Bryce is the Autumn King's child. The Autumn King decides that Bryce needs a full-time live-in bodyguard. Good thing Hunt is already there.
Yeah, right.
So-
She basically already has one of those.
Yes, only now he's inside her apartment. He's staying there.
Oh, great.
This is when Hunt finds out that Bryce's stepdad, his name is Randall. He's a very infamous human sharpshooter, sniper. Worked in the military for a long time.
Okay.
That's
Randy.
okay. I think he does sometimes go by Randy, actually. Also, Bryce has a leather jacket that says, "Through love, all is possible," and it was Danica's.
Which
So
is the
again-
same thing that's written on her back.
Yes.
With her tramp stamp.
But by the way, the one on her back is written in like a different language.
Oh, okay.
That's going to be important
Do
later.
we know what language?
Not at this point.
Okay. It'll be some made up language we come up with later.
Yes.
It's probably not like French or something. It's
It is not French.
German.
No. Since Ruin is looking for Luna's horn, and Bryce still kind of wants to know what happened with Luna's horn, they decide to work together, do research on the horn and into Danica to figure out like what the connection is there. The horn was broken in the first war, so even if they find it, they're not sure what it does, how to use it,
And it's broken.
and it's broken.
Cool.
So they start looking into ways to possibly fix it. I think it's at this point that we learn that the horn can open other dimensions.
That's how everybody got here in the first place and ruined the human world.
Well, that's how the first war was ended, I think. Or started.
I mean, it seems like that's be how it started, because it was just people and they were all hunky dory, and then all these weirdos started showing up.
I mean, it's possible.
It's gonna be just like when the aliens come.
Okay.
They're coming.
Okay. Anyway, this is also when we find out that Bryce had, like I said, the kids there at a certain age meet with an oracle and they get like a prophecy.
Are oracles like know all kind of beings? They know everything, there's no change in it.
No, it's kind of like a sphinx.
A sphinx?
It's kind of like a sphinx and it tells you your future in like a very cryptic way.
Like tarot cards and shit? Or like a
no.
palm reader?
It has the ability to look into the future and it gives you like a sentence or two about your future.
But is it a guarantee?
Is anything a guarantee?
I mean, that's what I'm asking.
I don't know.
Damn it.
Okay. Bryce had a really weird meeting with the Oracle where it just screamed at her.
Okay.
That's
Bitch better have my money.
just screaming in pain.
Alright.
That's gonna come back later.
Okay.
This is also when Bryce starts taking Hunt's phone and using it to like take a bunch of pictures of like sirens and the food that they eat and like other stuff. Cause
Instagramming.
yeah, basically. Hunt decides to go see the Oracle on his own to see if he can get more information about the horn, about something. Oh, about the horn, about trying to fix it. Smoke swirled, masking the Sphinx from sight, even though she sat only 10 feet away. Hunt forced himself to keep still. To open the doorway between worlds. They wished to use the horn to reopen the northern rift. The horn's purpose wasn't merely to close doors, it opens them too. It depends on what the bearer wishes. But the horn is broken. It can be healed. How? A long pause. Then, it's veiled. I cannot see. No one can see. Very mysterious. But the Sphinx says that the horn can be fixed.
Okay.
So, that's important for later.
I guess the Oracle thing just confuses me. Like, it told the guy he was the end of his bloodline, but if he immediately left there and just started fucking every girl he could and knocked somebody up, then he's not at the end of his bloodline.
Wow.
Like, you can't just, like, take the information it gives you and be like, not today.
What about the Oracle confuses you?
Everything. Like, you can't. It tells the future, but the future can be changed once you know what the future is.
Well, that's why all its prophecies are so vague, because then it makes it...
It's like fortune cookie or astrology or something. It's just making shit up as it goes.
Okay.
No? So they're going to a fortune cookie, is what they're doing.
I mean, not quite, Justin. Anyway, they also hear about this thing called the Great Library of Parthos. So the humans had... It was basically the Library of Alexandria.
There's a library in every one of these books, isn't there?
Yeah. You know why? Because libraries are cool.
Because there's books inside of books inside of books.
Yes.
Libraries.
Yeah. The Great Library of Parthos, created by the humans. Tons of knowledge. The Asteri showed up, tried to destroy it. They didn't get it all, but no one knows where the rest is. That's important later.
Why is everything important later? Also, you tell me everything's important later like I'm gonna fucking remember. Basically, that's just your way of noting when this comes back later, you're gonna have to explain it all over again.
Okay. Hunt and Bryce decide to talk to Philip Briggs, who was the bomber.
Right.
They do that and find out that Danica was kind of a rebel sympathizer. Bryce doesn't like that because, like, she thought she knew everything about Danica. They were best friends, whatever.
She was kind of into the Confederacy at the end of the day. She maybe put up like one flag in her house.
To be fair, the Asteri are terrible. Like, you learn more about it as the books go on, but, like, it gives off colonizer vibes.
Okay.
So, they're, like slavery exists in this world. Lahaba is a slave. Hunt is a slave. And they're awful.
Okay. So the resistance is there for a reason.
Yes.
Got it.
It is mostly human because humans are mostly the ones being, like, trampled. But there's a reason.
Well, humans are the weaker species going on in here.
Yes. This is also when we learn more about Hunt's past and how he was tortured by Sandriel, and, like, for a long time after the rebellion ended. I couldn't think of the word for a minute. I'm fine.
Just add a couple letters after rebel.
Yeah. Also, they remember that there were cameras at Luna's temple. So they can see what happened the night that the horn was stolen.
They just now thought, well, that's good policing. They just now are like, oh, right, there were surveillance cameras there the whole time, guys.
Yeah. They go to a gun range, and it's Bryce and Rune and Flynn and Declan and Hunt. And Hunt and Bryce have this weird flirting moment with the guns. It's, as a person who's not really into guns, I don't get it, but...
It's like a weird, hold my hand while I shoot this gun and let me
well, no, it's
grind up against you and show you how to do it kind of thing.
Because Bryce's dad was a sharpshooter, she is also a really good shot.
Right.
Her stepdad, I mean. And she, like, hits the target, and she hits it really well. And then Hunt also hits the target and hits it really well. And then they just have really intense eye contact for a while.
That's bizarre.
It isn't that
It's
weird.
a weird thing, gun people. Don't get all horned up shooting guns. It's weird.
So, after that, they find out there's been another murder.
Chunked up?
Yes, all
All
chunked
right.
up. Also, all of the murders are occurring on ley lines, which are just like magical pathways in the city. So that's important.
Okay.
They get the footage from the night that the horn was stolen at the temple, and then realize that the footage was switched by Danica's mother, who kind of hated Danica.
Okay.
Because she was worried that Danica was more powerful than her, was going to usurp her authority in the pack. It's a whole thing.
Okay.
She's a bitch.
Oh, because they're werewolves.
Yeah.
Right. You said pack, and I was like, that pack of devils? Or wait, what? It's the... I got confused.
Rune meets this Medi-Witch, it's called. She's a witch who also does medicine, essentially.
Okay.
That's going to come back later.
Of course.
Hunt is in the apartment with Bryce. Bryce is off somewhere doing something, and he goes snooping through one of her closets. It's mostly just because it's a funny moment.
Why would you do that?
Some people are nosy.
I don't understand that. If you're nosy, stop it. Don't look through people's shit.
You want to tell me something? About what? About what the fuck this is? He extended his hand, opened up his big fist. A purple, glittery unicorn lay in it. She snatched it from his hand. Why are you snooping through my things? Why do you have a box of unicorns in your linen closet? This one is a unicorn Pegasus. Jelly Jubilee. You thought it was a sex toy, didn't you? So he stumbles on her box of, like, they're basically Beanie Babies, but they're like squishy and stuff, and he thought they were sex toys.
Well, I mean, Jelly Jubilee certainly sounds like a sex toy. Also, Purple Glittery Unicorn is the shape of many a sex toy. Take it from a professional, guys. I know my sex toys really well. That's for another podcast, I suppose. But
Yeah,
that certainly sounds sex toy-ish.
it's just a funny moment.
Jelly Jubilee.
Jelly Jubilee.
That'll come back.
They meet up with a merman,
Merman. Merfolk.
merfolk, they live in the river and the oceans and everything. It's a big deal.
Just like the real mermaids do.
Stop.
Mermaids are real. It's a conspiracy to try to cover it up so we
Not
don't know about it.
Everything is a conspiracy.
Mermaids are
Justin.
real. We watched that documentary on Discovery
That
Channel.
very clearly CGI documentary.
It was so real.
So
real. Mermaids. As real as this peach Pepsi.
I quit. Are you done?
Continue.
Okay. Mermaid's name is Therion.
That's a silly name for a mermaid, but what are you gonna do?
Okay. Therion works in the police force for the mer people.
Do they have their own precinct down there?
Yes, because they have like their own city down there. He can't be a police force on.
What do you think construction looks like for a city underwater?
I don't know.
They can't have like excavators and shit.
Also, I know there's. I think it's 1 hour. He's got like a 1 hour time limit to where he can be on land, but if he doesn't make it back to the water within that hour, he like has legs forever. So that comes up in the story.
That's strange, but okay.
Okay. Anyway, meet Therion. Therion has worked with Hunt before, so that's how he already knew Hunt. He agrees to help them out. And this is where you find out that they have a postal service, and the mail is delivered by otters.
By otters.
By otters.
In the water. So wait, is this just
No,
for...
just everywhere.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. The little otters.
Otters deliver mail on land?
Yes.
In the desert? Can they send a letter to Arizona and it goes by otter? Otters don't go there.
It's in the city. There's no desert in the city. It's
So
all one city.
it's just city otters.
that we know of.
If they want to send a letter further away, theoretically they would need a different critter.
I guess so. Anyway.
I'm curious about the postal department and the underwater construction. Let's get a book about that.
Also, find out that the wolves are really upset with Bryce because, like, she agreed to go out with Connor and they take loyalty very seriously, but that night at the club, she also was like, I think she slept with somebody while she was there. So,
She didn't do any sleeping.
no, but, like, they basically think she was whoring herself out.
Okay.
That's going to come up again later. To the point where they sent her hate mail, they made up mean songs about her, they put it on the internet. Like, she had to change her address and change her phone number and delete her social media stuff. A lot of harassment going on.
Okay.
And
You would think since she has close ties with the police department, maybe somebody would step in.
well, her close tie was Danica,
Oh.
and Danica is dead.
So she's no longer at all connected with the police department.
No.
Okay.
So, but it got bad enough that she was like standing on the ledge of her apartment building and considered jumping off, and Juniper just happened to call her and like talk her down from it. So, like, she nearly killed herself.
Got it.
So Juniper essentially saved Bryce's life.
Right.
That's a big deal.
Okay.
And then,
That'll come back later.
yes. Well, actually, I don't think it does, but it's a nice part
a
of the
thing.
story. Yeah. Bryce is then at the gardens in Five Roses where the Fae live, because she can get in. She's half Fae.
Right.
Nobody knows, really, that she's the Autumn King's daughter. He wants to keep that under wraps. That's why she calls Rune her cousin.
Okay.
Like her distant cousin. Because, like, he is very ashamed of her for, at this point, unknown reasons.
He was fucking human, clearly.
He was apparently in love with her mom.
You would think that's probably frowned on. It seems like a pretty segregated society.
But then he started, like, abusing her and controlling her, so she ran away while she was pregnant.
Got it.
So, that's a little bit more of that backstory. But while she's at the garden, she gets attacked by a Crystallos demon.
Same kind.
Yeah, it's the same kind of demon.
Right.
Very vicious demon. They like secrete venom somehow. So a Mediwitch is called to the scene. It's the same Mediwitch that Rune met with earlier. They talk a lot about the Crystallos venom and how she's doing research on it and trying to maybe see what it can do and see if she can find a cure, all this kind of stuff. It's going to come back later. Bryce and Hunt, after they meet with the mini witch, get back to her apartment, and Sabine is there, Danica's mom.
Okay.
And she said, well, she holds a gun to Bryce's head.
That's a nice thing to do.
Yeah. We were asked, well, they think that Sabine had Danica killed at this point.
Got it.
We were asking those questions because you killed Danica, you fucking psycho. Sabine went still. You think I did what? You think I killed my own daughter? You killed her because she was going to take your place as future prime. You stole the horn to undermine her, and you've been using that demon to kill anyone who might have seen you and to humiliate Micah before the summer. I didn't steal anything, you stupid fucks, and I didn't kill my daughter. I was protecting her. Danica stole the horn. So she switched the footage.
Because her daughter did it.
Yes.
Got it.
And I guess she didn't hate her that much. She at least didn't hate her enough to, like, let her get arrested for theft, I guess.
Well, she's already dead, so
Yeah.
what's the point at that point?
Well, I mean, she wasn't dead when she stole the horn, though.
I'm not dead yet.
Okay. We also learned pretty quickly after that the Crystallos demon venom can remove magic, and they're also trying to make it into this kind of synthetic magic that they can give to humans.
To make the magic?
Yeah, to make them more on level with the veneer.
Okay. So wait, since one of these demons attacked hot shit, did he lose some of his magic from the venom?
He would have temporarily, yeah.
Oh, it's a temporary thing.
Yeah.
It comes back.
Yeah.
Okay.
They find out there have been more murders, but the bodies have been dumped in the river. They were, you know...
That's what you do with the body.
Well,
They're Italian.
okay. Well, that, and they were, like, Danica was a high-profile person. That vampire guy was a high-profile person. These other people
They're nobodies.
were nobody, so they were just dumped in the river. That's why nobody knows about them. This is where Bryce uses all that demon salt she got earlier.
Oh,
She summons this guy named Adis, who shows up as a furry little cat.
meow.
Meow. Adis the demon, the prince of hell, shows up as a cat.
Hell with one L?
Hell with one L.
Okay.
It's always hell with one L in this book.
It's ridiculous. That's very much like in Rocko's Modern Life,
Yeah.
where the Prince of Hell, his name is Peaches. Kind of on par, coming back as a kitty cat.
Meow.
Does he poop in a box?
Not that I know of.
I'm just going to assume he poops in a box.
He gives them a history lesson.
Oh,
Let's see.
just what I would want. History lesson from a cat. Knocking things off of countertops and pooping in boxes.
What is hell but a distant planet bound to yours by a ripple in space and time? Hell is a planet? Hunt's brows lowered. It is as real a place as Midgard, though most of us would have you believe it wasn't. Your kind were made in Midgard by the Asteri. So the archangels and the angels were made by the Asteri.
Okay.
But the Fae, the Shifters, and many others came from their own worlds. The universe is massive. Some believe it has no end. Or that our universe might be one in a multitude, as bountiful as the stars in the sky or the sand on a beach. We did not send the Crystallos demon. So basically, he gives them that history lesson to make sure that they know that there's this place called the Northern Rift where they think the demons come from, but the Northern Rift doesn't just open to hell with one L. It opens potentially to a lot of other places too.
Right.
So,
Different universes, different planets,
yes,
whole thing.
that'll come up again later.
Of course it will.
And then Ada says something to Bryce. He says, make the drop and come find me.
Because he's got to do the drop.
She has to do the drop. She still hasn't done it. That's why Danica died in that attack, because she hadn't done the drop.
Right.
So she wasn't immortal, technically. So Bryce still hasn't done it, still not technically immortal. Make the drop and come find me. They also realize that there's a specific kind of test that the Fae can do that they didn't do for Danica. So now Bryce is all mad at the Autumn King again, because he's awful. And then Kitty Cat starts showing up in some of Bryce's dreams, and he says, what blinds an oracle? Because remember, the oracle just screamed a bunch
Right.
when he saw her. And she says, you know, and that's really all we get at that point. So she's got a secret. Adis knows it has something to do with the oracle.
Okay. Kitty cats know things.
This one in particular. Probably not ours.
No, ours are dumb. They do poop in boxes.
They do. Sometimes they meow during podcasts too.
Yes.
Micah makes Hunt do this big assassination. He says he has to do it like down and dirty, so he's got to use swords and knives and shit. He comes back to the apartment and he's all bloody, and Bryce helps clean him up and helps take care of him, and he's in a lot of shock and everything.
He's in shock. Hasn't he killed a bunch of people before? What's he in shock for?
Well, he doesn't like it.
He's done it 80 times. You'd think he'd be over it by now.
Well, he's not. Okay.
What a bitch.
Okay. Calm down. Bryce gets to Jessica's office the next day, and Jessica has this thing called a knock. It's kind of like a water demon. It's gonna come back later.
Of course it's going to come back later.
So, at more than 8 feet long, the knock might have very well been the hellish twin to a mer male, but instead of human features, the knock presented a jutting lower jaw with a too wide mouth full of needle-thin teeth. Its eyes were milky, like some of the fishes of the deep. Its tail was mostly translucent, and above it, a warped, muscled torso rose. So you get the impression, it's like a monster.
It's an 8-foot-long fish monster.
Yeah.
Is it in the water?
Yeah, they've got it in like a tank of water,
That's
and
weird.
it eats anything that goes in that water. Like,
Okay.
he ain't picky.
Okay.
He'll come back later.
I mean, that seems like at least a pretty cool thing to come back later.
Yeah.
Big, weird water monster. I don't think you want to keep an 8-foot critter in a tank, though. You need a really big aquarium.
I mean, nobody told Jessica. So,
He's also probably pretty pissed off if he's left in a little container.
yeah, he might be a little grumpy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
He'll be grumpy later.
he'll be grumpy later. Maybe, that you know of.
Or maybe he'll be happy later. Who knows?
So, they get the results from the Fae test in, and they find that Danica had this thing on her clothes called Synth, and it's like a new drug
Drugs.
on the market, and it has the ability to like give people like an extra boost in their powers.
Okay. Man, I watched a movie like that. It had superpowers and you could take these drugs and it amplified them. I don't remember what it was called.
Was
wasn't
it
very good.
Limitless?
No, it wasn't
No?
Limitless. That's the one where they're limitless. I don't remember what it was. It was pretty bad. I think I fell asleep before it was over.
Okay.
But that happens with me in movies a lot.
Yeah, it does. Hunt and Bryce do a video call with her mom and her stepdad, during which Bryce finally agrees to see a Mediwitch about the scar on her leg. That comes back later.
God damn it.
Sarian reveals that, one, these drug deals are happening on boats on the river, so the mer people knew about it, and that Danica was involved in some of those deals. So now Bryce is learning even more shit about Danica. that
She was up to
didn't
no
know.
good.
So much no good. So Bryce calls Fury and Juniper. She calls Fury, who she hasn't spoken to since Danica died. And Fury basically says, like Danica didn't want to tell you because she was afraid you were going to use the drug. Because you're half human. You don't have the same kind of powers that the rest of us do. She thought you would be tempted, so she just didn't tell you. Also, Fury and Juniper are a thing, so we have our first lesbian couple.
Oh, hey, how about that? Bumping donuts.
I don't know why that's a thing. Did you just make that up?
I mean, they're...
I know what you're
Scissoring?
saying.
I don't
but I've never heard that phrase before. Did you make that up or did you hear it somewhere?
I've definitely been saying that for a really long time. I want to say I'm not clever enough to have made that up. I had to have heard it somewhere.
I know it wasn't Seinfeld.
It wasn't Seinfeld for sure. Not that there's anything wrong with that. That's a Seinfeld.
Okay. Bryce decides to... I guess Danica's computer is still in that apartment. So she decides to try to break into Danica's computer, guess the password. She can't figure it out, but she'll get back to that later.
I'll come back later. Everything comes back later.
Everything... That's why there's so many fucking notes,
That's why
Justin.
there's so many fucking books, too, and so many goddamn pages.
Yeah, well, so Bryce goes to this little pastry shop. She gets croissants. Find out that it's Danica's birthday, so she's all sad.
I'm sad. It's not her birthday anymore because she's dead.
Okay, Justin.
Is it still your birthday when you're dead? Does it still count?
I mean,
You're not getting any older.
no, but you were still born that day.
I think the whole point of a birthday is to celebrate another year of not having died.
Hunt is there. He says, "What's in the box?" Chocolate croissants. Danica always wanted them on her birthday. They were her favorite. It sucks. It sucks that everyone just moves on and forgets. They expect me to forget, but I can't. She opens the box. She shut the lid before Hunt could see what was inside. What is it? She shook her head. Inside lay half a dozen croissants, carefully arranged in a pile. And on the top one, artfully written in chocolate drizzle, was one word, trash. So, the wolves somehow found out about this thing that she does on Danica's birthday and, like, decided to use that to harass her. Trash is not a very good insult, for the record.
No, it's
Could have done better.
Trash, trash, trash.
Yeah, yeah. Somehow find out that the person who arranged this whole thing was a girl named Amelie. So Hunt goes to fuck her up a little bit because he's real mad. Because at this point, Hunt and Bryce are like a little into each other.
Right.
So that's how these books go usually.
I mean, honestly, I'm shocked that we're 500 pages in and there's not a bunch of hardcore fucking yet.
That's next book.
Next book. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, from what I've gotten so far from Sarah J. Maas, 500 pages is a real long time for her to not write some fucking.
Okay. So Hunt goes to fuck up Amelie. That's going to come back later. They meet with the Meta Witch again. So Bryce got attacked by the Crystallos demon that night at the apartment. She's had the venom in her leg this whole time. That's part of the reason that the scar never healed, and also why she sometimes like limps, like it hurts sometimes. She gets the venom removed.
Seems like they did a bad job at her initial doctor's appointment after this attack.
Well, so the funny thing is, she's passed out, having just saved Micah's life. Hunt shows up, sees her leg, and just like staples it back together. Because
he's a doctor.
Well, no, but he's a soldier, so that's all he really knows how to do. So that's partly why.
Right. Maybe she should have seen a doctor, made sure it's not infected.
Yes. Anyway, we also find out that the many witches are the ones who give people the slave tattoos.
Oh.
That's going to come back later.
They're like that tattooist of Auschwitz show that's on Peacock right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Except they're magic tattoos.
Oh, okay.
So it's like because he's got this tattoo, one, everybody who sees him knows that he's a slave. But two, he is physically incapable of going against like his owner's wishes. So he can't fight back. We also learn more about the Bone Quarter, which is where dead people's souls go. So basically, you get on a boat, go to the Bone Quarter. If the boat flips over, you're unworthy. Your soul does not go there. Bryce was worried that Danica was going to be considered unworthy because she begged for her life, and that's a big deal among the wolves. You're not supposed to beg. You're strong and brave and tough.
How does anybody know that she begged for her life?
The audio recording.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. Bryce traded her soul for Danica's so that in exchange for a guarantee that Danica would make it to the Bone Quarter, Bryce's soul is null and void. It's not going anywhere.
Okay. That's a lot of questions there.
Yeah, I mean, it's really complicated. I'm trying to summarize it as best as I can, okay? Bone Quarter, where the dead people live, who are not alive.
So it's basically like a quote-unquote heaven kind of deal.
Yeah, but it's like very visible in a weird way, because it's part of the city.
That's weird.
Yeah, you find out more about that later.
Can alive people go there?
I mean...
And see the dead people?
You can't really see them. You can attempt to, it's like shadows of a person, so you might be able to, get a glimpse of somebody, but they can't talk at all. So you just wave. And it's across the river, so, it's not like a clear picture or anything.
I mean, what's the benefit of going there versus just tipping over in the boat and calling it a day?
I mean, it is an afterlife. It might not be a great one, but it is an afterlife that they can be assured actually exists.
I think I've seen enough. When I'm done, I'm done. Checking out. I've seen all the sights. I've tasted all the Pepsis.
Okay. With the Pepsi.
I don't think that I need anything else. I don't need a weird, shadowy afterlife on the other side of the river.
Okay. They go back to the apartment. Bryce has the leather jacket. It says, "Through love, all is possible." Somehow she finds out that there's been a flash drive jammed into this jacket.
Okay.
So she gets that. And then she realizes the password to Danica's computer is, "Through love, all is possible."
That's a really long password.
It's a really long password, yes.
Also, there's no capitalizations or letters or weird punctuation, so.
Not that it says in the book, so.
It just seems like a weird password.
Yep. On the flash drive is a video of some company running tests on people who have taken synth. And this is when they find out that it wasn't the demon that killed Danica. Somebody used synth and then became so crazed and powerful that they tore everybody the fuck apart.
Okay.
So, because, like, the demon, like, bites people, stabs people, whatever. These motherfuckers were in shreds.
Super drug.
Yeah, super crazy drug. Hunt leaves for a little while. Bryce hears about, like, a synth deal happening on the river from Therion. And she says, I gotta check this out. So she goes to the river, sees these people standing on this boat, doing this deal. One of them is Hunt.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So he's up to no good.
Yeah, also two other people who were involved in the rebellion, Victoria and Justinian. Micah swoops in, arrests everybody. So Victoria, I don't remember exactly what she is, but she's not a person and she's not an angel. They take her consciousness from her body, they put it in a box, and they throw it in the bottom of the ocean. So she's going to be there forever, just living inside a box.
Okay.
They crucify Justinian.
Down there with the mer people.
Oh shit, I missed a very important part. So, Hunt and Amelie have that altercation. Hunt is a slave. He was going up against someone who's like a pretty high-ranking member of the Wolves. So he's got to be punished. His punishment was that he had his wings cut off.
I didn't even know he had wings.
He's an angel.
Okay, well.
Well, he has wings. He's
So
an angel.
all the angels have wings?
Yes.
Not this one anymore.
Not this one. It's going to take a while for them to grow back. They
Oh,
will.
they grow back.
But,
It's like a lizard when you cut off its tail.
yeah. But it's going to take a while. It's very painful.
Okay.
Rough. So by the time the synth deal happens, like his wings are in the process of regrowing, but they haven't fully regrown yet.
Okay. So they crucified what's his name?
They crucified Justinian. Victoria's in a box on the bottom of the ocean. Hunt is just hanging around in jail. He's not really sure what they're going to do with him yet. Bryce comes to see him, and he just apologizes a bunch. But then Sandriel shows up. Sandriel was Shahar's sister, who
Tortured him.
tortured him previously.
Got it. Right.
So, yeah. Bryce tries to buy Hunt from Sandriel. So
Well, she ain't got no money. She's already broke as fuck from
She
buying
got a
the-
loan from
buying the
Jessica.
critter.
she got more money from Jessica, because
Okay.
Jessica has a fuck ton of money.
Okay.
But that's her plan. She's gonna, because at this point it's been a little while, but she's like, I still really love him. I don't want to be mad at him anymore. He doesn't deserve this. So she tries to buy Hunt. That doesn't work for two reasons. First of all, Sandriel announces to the entire room that she knows Bryce's secret, that she's actually the daughter of the Autumn King. And then Rune shows up as Bryce is trying to sell herself into slavery in exchange for Hunt. Well, first she offers to buy him, and then she offers to trade places with him, and Sandriel almost agrees. But then Rune shows up and says, you can't do that. Since she's a princess, she belongs to me and my dad. She has no autonomy. Sexism.
Yep.
Yeah, so...
Sexism, slaves, it's the whole thing.
Yeah, no, it really is. So, that's out. Hunt didn't know that she was daughter of the Fae King.
So now he's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. In between all the torture, he's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So, Bryce is out. She gets attacked by a demon again, fights it off, and then just runs off somewhere. The summit starts to happen. Rune is there because he's the crown prince of the Fae. So he's important. He gets to be there. And then he runs into the Many-Witch, who is Hypaxia. So Hypaxia, his fiance, and the Many-Witch he's been talking to are the same person. He didn't realize it at the time. She's pretty important to the story later on, but at this point, she just became like queen of the witches. Most of her teachers were dead people because her mom did necromancy. So,
Cool.
yeah. Yep. Bryce is at the office, and Micah busts in. And this is when the story starts getting fucking nuts. But this is...
So as this is all going on, is the guy still in jail, or has he now been taken by his owner and she's just torturing him?
So he's at the summit too. Sandriel owns him now. That's
She got him out of jail?
Yeah, she bought him out of jail. But
Okay.
she's got him on a leash. She's keeping him with her.
It's a weird sex thing too, walking people around on leashes.
Okay. But anyway, he's at the summit with Sandriel until they leave.
Okay.
So the summit
She-
has
She's in the office. Micah comes in.
She's in the office. Micah comes in. Bryce immediately knows that something's up, so she texts Jessica really quick, and they've got these big computer screens, TV screens at the place where they're doing the summit. So Jessica stops everything and says, pull this up on the screen right now. And then, so everybody at the summit, including Hunt, can see what's happening at the office. And
What's the summit
Nuts.
again?
it's a meeting of all the governors and the archangels.
Okay, so they all just get together. And
Yeah, the
do it.
Asteri are there on like
It's a real
on a Zoom
G1
call.
summit kind of thing.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
They basically, it's a big circle jerk.
They all get together to pat themselves on the back for how great they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, typical government.
Yeah.
Got it.
And Micah has a villain speech, but it's pretty nuts.
I mean, I like a good villain speech, but also, why are you telling your whole plan to everybody all the time?
I don't know what you're talking about, Bryce said. For 3 years, you wore that amulet every single day. Explain to me why, within an hour after you took off the amulet, that Crystallos demon attacked you. Bad luck, you don't just have the horn. You are the horn. You became its bearer the night Danica had it ground into a fine powder, mixed it with ink, and then got you so drunk you didn't ask questions when she had it tattooed on your back. So the horn is on Bryce's back.
Oh.
It is the tattoo in that weird language.
Okay.
So she is the horn.
All right.
But at this point, what Micah doesn't know is that you have to have like that weird fairy star power to work the horn. So he doesn't know that, but Bryce does.
Okay.
But that'll come back later.
Jesus Christ.
Soon, though. Soon. So he has his big villain speech where he reveals that he orchestrated Danica's death and therefore the Pack of Devils because Danica was starting to ask too many questions and that he's been looking for the horn. Like, it's this whole thing where he wants to open the rift to prove that he is more powerful than the Asteri.
Okay.
It's crazy.
All right.
So he has some of this synth drug with him. He injects Bryce with it as they're fighting, which is really dangerous because in the footage and everything, there's a certain point where her whole body is going to overload and she's going to start to tear herself into pieces. So not good.
Not good.
Not good. He also throws Syrinx into the tank with the knock.
Oh.
So the knock is back and it's real fucking hungry.
Yep.
But then Bryce throws herself into the tank to get Syrinx out. The knock bites her, but doesn't do anything else. And then the knock dies because she tips over the hole. Or no, that happens later. Sorry. Anyway, but she gets out.
Wait a minute. He throws the Chimera in there, but he can teleport, right?
Yeah, the Chimera can teleport.
Couldn't he just teleport right back out of the tank?
I
And
guess
been
he
like, I
could've.
don't want to fucking be here.
But Bryce was a little panicked. You can't blame her for not thinking it through.
yeah, I get it, but at the same time, that little fella should have skipped his ass right out of there.
Okay. Anyway, she manages to get Micah like barricaded into a back room or some kind of closet, something off to the side. And this is where Lahaba has her shining moment. This is why you're not allowed to say anything bad about Lahaba.
That's Fire Tinkerbell, right?
Fire Tinkerbell.
Right.
Yes. Let me buy you time. We can figure this out. We can get out together. No. Bryce looked back to find Lahaba smiling. Let me do this for you, and for Syrinx. This is where we find out that Bryce, a couple days before this happened, because Lahaba was also a slave, she bought Lahaba's freedom from Jessica. So she's now more in debt to Jessica. But, like, she just wanted Lahaba to not be a slave anymore. So it's not like she had bad intentions.
She's just buying people and setting them free is what she's doing.
Yes.
Okay. With borrowed money.
Yeah. You are a free person. You don't have to do this. You're free, Lahaba. Then let the world know that my first act of freedom was to help my friends. So she knocks over the tank with the knock in it as Micah busts out of the closet. But because she's made of fire, as soon as the water touches her, she dies. So she sacrifices herself to give Bryce a second to get out of there.
Okay.
Because if it weren't for that 1 second, there's a good chance that Micah would have fucking killed her. So again, you can't say anything bad about Lahaba.
Well, she's dead, so I mean, at
Yes.
this point.
But then, so because he injected her with the synth, like the horn did kind of activate, she felt like her back get really warm. So something has happened. But because Lahaba was able to get her some time, she gets this big ass rifle from Jessica's office with these special bullets, shoots him in the head,
Okay.
sets him on fire, and then vacuums up his ashes. And this is all happening big screen TV.
Right.
So
Everybody's watching this.
Everybody's watching her murder this archangel.
Okay.
Literally.
Also, the fish monster is dead because he doesn't have any more water.
Yes,
he's just
dead.
flopping around on the ground.
Yeah, he's gonna dry out and die real fast. So he's dead. And then we see her, like, the people at the summit see her inject herself with something. And this is when Hypaxia reveals that she sent Bryce some antidote to the synth just in case. So she's gonna be fine.
Okay.
But then she runs out of the office and realizes that the rift did open. There are demons fucking everywhere. So she just killed Micah, and now she's got to fend off a bunch of demons.
Okay.
Ethan, who was Connor's little brother.
Hang on. So Micah was in charge or arranged for her friend's death in the beginning.
Uh-huh.
Did he do it?
No.
Who did it?
So
He supplied the drugs.
He supplied the drugs. He made sure she got like an extra strong dose so that she would rip herself apart.
Okay, so he was giving the drugs to them. They were using the drugs.
Yes.
Why were they using the drugs?
To get like the power boost.
For what? Like, what were they going to go out and do? Were they just hanging out at home, jerking off with this extra power? I don't get it.
I mean, maybe.
And then why did the demon attack him then afterwards?
Oh, so it's a side effect of the synth drug because one of the ingredients is that black salt.
So the demons show up and they're
So the
like,
demons just happen to show up.
give me that. They like that black salt.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I just
Side
wanted to dial all that in and try to make some sense of it since this guy's dead now and we're moving along.
So Ethan was Connor's younger brother. Connor is the guy she agreed to go out on the date with before
Right.
the murder. He's not been talking to her at all because he's also mad. But then this is when he mans up and decides, like, she's not awful. Let me help her. So he helps her get, like, the humans into a bomb shelter because they're immediately all going to die otherwise.
Yeah. Demons everywhere.
Yeah, demons fucking everywhere. And
It's like at the end of Ghostbusters when all the ghosts get out and they're flying all over the town. No?
I mean, less flying and more like on the ground running around.
Okay.
And death also because they're sharp teeth, claws, you know.
Like standard demon fare. They don't all look different. They're all pretty homogenous.
I think they all look a little different.
Okay.
But then the bomb shelter that they're trying to get these people into has got like a timed door and it's about to close. And Bryce shoves Ethan in right as the door closes. So Bryce is now out there on her own.
But all the people are inside.
But all the people
And
are
they're
inside.
safe.
But there are still demons everywhere.
Right.
So she's in trouble. She calls Hunt, not expecting him to answer, but then he does. And she just starts saying goodbyes and she's crying because she thinks she's going to die.
Because there's demons everywhere.
Because there's demons everywhere.
Right.
But then, let me ask you a question. What blinds an oracle? Star power.
Right.
Bryce actually has herself some star power.
Okay.
The Autumn King didn't know this. Nobody else knew besides Bryce, her mom, her stepdad, and Danica. Because Danica and her got in a situation where she had to use it to save their lives.
Okay.
But that's why she had that interaction with the Oracle, because the Oracle looked in her future and just saw really bright ass light and was screaming in pain.
Got it.
Blinded the Oracle temporarily. But because she has that star power, she can use the horn on her back.
Okay.
So she closes the rift. So
Okay.
no more demons coming in.
But they're already there.
But they are still there. There are still some demons there. But then the Autumn King and Bryce's mom have this fun phone call because he didn't know that his daughter was also this powerful star power person. So basically, Bryce came up to the city to meet her dad officially because she had never really met him at that point. She's 12 or 13 years old. She goes to meet the Oracle. She has that really bad interaction with the Oracle, and then her dad just writes her off immediately after that.
Okay.
Because he's just like, you're a monster, you did something, I don't want anything to do with you. You've known she was Starborn Fae all these years and lied to me about it, the king bit out. I've been waiting for this call for more than 20 years. You bitch. Who do you think ended your goons all those years ago? They had her in their grasp by the neck. She realized what they were going to do to me, to Randall, and she fucking blinded them. And this is where you find out that she actually has more of this star power than Rune does, but she didn't tell Rune because she didn't want him to feel bad. She didn't want him to lose his position as heir because she didn't fucking want to be heir.
It's good to see that mom and dad still get along really well.
Well, he was abusive towards the end there, so can't really come back from that.
Yeah.
It is a gift of starlight, light and nothing more. It never meant anything to us, but to your people, When Bryce was 13, she agreed to visit you, to meet you, to see if you could be trusted to know what she possessed and not be threatened by it. But then she met your son, and she told me that when she saw his pride and his chosen one status, she realized she couldn't take it away from him. Not when she also saw that that was the only value you placed in him. So all the Autumn King has ever really cared about is like how much power his kids have and what that can do for him. And so that was, Bryce immediately was like, he can't know. I don't want him to use me.
Right.
So, big secret. Now it's out, but she uses this light, and it does kill off some of the demons and closes the gate.
Okay.
People are watching this at the summit. Hypaxia is witch. She starts...
So all these people at the summit are just watching everything happen on TV?
Yeah.
So all these high-ranking people, they don't give a fuck. They're just looking down on the little people and saying, oh, there's a whole bunch of demons out there fucking everything up.
I mean, they lock down like where the werewolves live and where the fae live and everything, but it's very much like every species for themselves kind of thing. That's why
Right.
Bryce had to go rescue the humans, because no one was going to do that.
Okay.
So, Hypaxia starts inching over to where Hunt is, because the witches give people the slave tattoos. She is a witch, so she removes the tattoo from Hunt. Since he no longer has the tattoo, he can do whatever the fuck he wants.
Okay.
He immediately rips Sandriel's head off.
Like you would.
Yeah. So she's dead.
Okay.
So that's now 2 archangels dead in a day.
Neat. I'm sure the archangels are going to be real excited about all of that.
Well, and the Asteri, because the archangels are supposed to be their super powerful
And
governors.
these people are dead. This half-breed is down here fucking things up.
Yeah, yeah. So he decides to go help Bryce because Sandriel was on the phone with the Asteri, and he knows immediately, everybody there knows immediately that, like, the Asteri are not going to let Bryce live if they know that she's this powerful, if they know she can do this, and especially if she killed an archangel, because she's a threat to their power now.
Right.
So they start dropping missiles on the city. Hutman manages to get to where she is just in time, covers his body with hers. So she's fine, but he is now nearly dead. Like, he's got limbs missing. So
Okay.
immortal, but not like, you can still die.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's by one of these gates, these little portal entrances, and back before the Asteri, they were used to send messages. So she puts her hand on it and she's like, if someone can help me right now, I'm going to try to make the drop by myself. I just need someone on the other side of this gate to hold it open for me so I can make it back up. And she decides to do the drop.
Okay.
So she basically dies, but like her soul sinks to the bottom of wherever. And Danica is there, Danica's spirit. Bryce is at first like, I'm not going back up. I don't want to live anymore. And Danica like smacks some sense into her. You've got Heist, you've got Fury and Juniper and all these other friends. Get the fuck back up there. So the surge that her power made when she made the drop healed Hunt. So Hunt is fine now.
Okay.
It's difficult to explain. I
Yeah.
don't even think I know how that works.
It's difficult to understand, so I'm
Yes.
glad it's also difficult to explain.
Yes. But she does make it all the way back up. And then her and Hunt are like crying and hugging each other. And
Now
like,
they're both kind of immortal, but also not.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
So she's made the drop. So she is like full-blooded immortal now.
Okay.
They go back to her apartment just hoping to like clean up. And one of the Asteri call and say, we'll let you live, but only if you never tell anyone what actually happened today. We're going to erase the footage. We're going to make sure nobody knows that you killed
We're
these
gonna go
archangels.
full Men in Black on everything, and just nobody knows anything.
Yeah, so that's the deal. Hunt gets to no longer be a slave, but you have to not tell anybody that this happened, or we will come kill you.
Cool. I mean, in her position, that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, and then there's this weird epilogue where Jessica and little kitty cat have a discussion about Hunt's father, who we don't know anything about at this point.
Okay.
But that's the end of the book.
That's it.
We did it.
Man, there's so much. This is taking way too long.
That was...
Also, we did this in the evening, guys. It's way too long. It's way too late. Why did we do this?
Well, I mean, we can wrap it up pretty quick. What do you think I rated it?
Why are there so many goddamn pages? I don't know. It seems like you give the first in every single one a 4. Every time there's a new pile of pages to go through, you give it a 4 when it starts out.
That's rude. But yeah. I
Yeah.
think- okay.
See? Because I feel like if it was lower than that, you probably wouldn't keep going. You'd be like,
yeah, that's fair.
if it was like a 3 or a 2, you'd be like, fuck this series, I'm out.
Yeah.
So 4 it is.
Yep, 4 it is. Okay. So, I think we're gonna be done for the night.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap this one up.
Follow us on Facebook and TikTok, FAE Podcast. We're gonna keep going with Crescent City for the next couple of weeks.
Oh boy,
Justin is excited.
can't wait.
Yeah. We will see you next time.
I'm all out of Pepsi.